Okay. Well, I'm mainly doing this because I set everything up to work like this. Today, I'm going to be talking about not doing pyrography, which is what I usually do. No, I kind of want to do something a little bit different. Um, I'm just going to be talking. And the original idea for live streaming was to have guests join me. That has proven very difficult, probably because I'm old at 46 and a half, and all the people that I know, all the friends that I have, they are older, in their 40s or more, and they've got busy lives. They've got, they're working during the day and then taking care of their families in the evening. And I don't want to push them too much. So normally I'd be doing pyrography right now, but I kind of did that earlier today, and I'm kind of being conscious. I've been feeling like the fumes from doing it have been getting to me a little bit. When you do pyrography, which is wood burning, when you burn the wood, there's, the fumes from the burn come out. And if you inhale that, it's not the best for you. And there's definitely examples of things that are worse. So some woods, so plywood, for example, has a bunch of formaldehyde built into it. And so when you burn wood, it releases the formaldehyde into the fumes, into the air. And basically you're breathing that in, and it's going to irritate your lungs. So it's best not to do that. So that's why I'm not doing it right now. And I am going to I did try a mask earlier today, one of those not a KN, just a K90 or an N90, whatever those things are. Didn't work. It worked better than anything else, but it was uncomfortable, and it's not, I can still, the formaldehyde in the air still seeps through, so it's not strong enough. I did buy a more legit mask and filter. So filter will come tomorrow, and then the mask will come on Tuesday or Wednesday. So I'll probably still do some pyrography, but keep the windows open and probably put the fan on and kind of go from there. Yeah. But yeah, the original idea for the live stream was to focus on dialogue and to have people from who were guests to come and join me and debate a topic, debate an idea. And the typical one, the things that I like were around thought experiments, philosophical thought experiments. So the classic one being the trolley problem. There's a runaway trolley, and uh, you are a railway worker, and you're at the control panel, and you see that there's a runaway trolley on the computer, and the path the trolley is on right now is going to hit and kill 5 people. But before it reaches those 5 people, you have an opportunity to flip a switch and change the direction of the trolley such that it hits only one person. So what do you do? Um, yeah, so it's a big question. It's a question on ethics and fairness and numbers and overall pain or utilitarianism. There's all kinds of things that kind of get called into question. So that's a good debate. That was one that I wanted to do. There's a bunch of others, and just philosophical ideas and concepts that I think are interesting, like the allegory of the cave, which I think is awesome. And a lot of things. I like a lot of the thought experiments that Descartes came up with. So the evil demon argument, which is basically the argument for hyperbolic doubt, is a really good one. And that actually kind of forms the basis of the movie The Matrix, which is, also tied into the questioning the idea of reality. What does it mean for something to be real versus not real? And how do we know the difference between those two things? And if there is a difference, does that difference even matter? So a lot of cool questions there, and I think a lot of areas to explore. Part of why I want to do this is because I don't know. There's a part of me that just feels like dialogue, good hardcore dialogue, has been lost. There's plenty of podcasts out there, but they kind of bounce around a lot. They don't seem to kind of take a single idea and really go deep with it. There seems to be this need to get pack in as much content as possible, and to the credit of some folks, that's not what they're intending to do. It's just they just have a conversation with people, and things just naturally take twists and turns and meander, and there's no particular um, importance around what's actually being discussed. And so they just want to have a natural conversation, and that's good too. I mean, that is dialogue. That is what people like to see. But there's something about just being able to really debate, like go into it, and try to take something, a tough idea or a tough concept, and really explore it from multiple different angles and multiple different vantage points, and seeing the pros and the cons, and or just trying to figure out different ways of thinking about something. I just got distracted. I shouldn't be looking at my phone. It's terrible. But yeah, I mean, that's the dream. You know, it's not going so well. I've done a lot of pyrography live streams, and nobody. I think one person today on Twitch, maybe even on no, I think it was on YouTube. They joined and quickly left. So I think part of it too is, when I do the pyrography, I'm not talking all that much, so it's not easy to connect with. As you're just watching, you're just looking at something, and um, yeah, that's understandable. Um, yeah, I I don't have a good answer for what yeah, I'm fiddling around with view screens and stuff. You don't have a good answer for what's the how do I get people to watch and get engaged, especially for what I'm doing. It's just random, you know. But there's something about it that I feel like I kind of want to keep exploring. I don't know why. Um, I do feel like live streaming is a underutilized and underestimated medium. I think there are a lot of cases and situations where live streaming, if somebody just live streamed certain things, they would get a lot of viewership, and it can't just be that. It should be also about telling a story, telling giving a context for why something is worth watching. Even today, I don't know if I'm not going to go the full hour. I don't think I can talk that much. I'm kind of talked out, and I was a little bit put off. I have like an interview tomorrow, and that's actually the thing that I was going to be talking about, and I might as well talk about here because there's nobody listening, and God knows if anybody ever will, or maybe they'll rewatch this. Who knows? But I'm kind of at this crossroads in life. I had some interesting circumstances befall me. Um, on February 28th, I was informed, that was a Friday, I was informed that I was getting laid off from my job. And so March 1st was the first day of my unemployment. And I've been unemployed since then. It's June 11th. It's a little bit over, or a little close to 3.5 months that I've been unemployed, that I haven't been working. And in December of last year, I tore my left ACL completely, complete tear. Didn't know about it until February, and planned for. I went on a trip, the middle of March, so I think it was like the 13th through the 20th, something like that, about a week, 7 or 8 days. And because of that, I scheduled my surgery for March 27th. So March 27th was when I had ACL surgery on my left leg, my left knee, and I've been recovering since then. So tomorrow, I believe, will mark 11 weeks out of surgery. And yeah, so there's a whole context there. How did I injure it? I injured it in judo. I was doing randori, which is basically sparring. And somebody came in for an attack, and I defended. And in the process of defending is when I hurt my leg. And so it is what it is. That's the name of the game. There's no this or that or the other. But I was really dialed in at that time to training. I do judo, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and Thai boxing. And I was pretty fanatical about it. So my schedule basically was like train in the morning almost every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Saturday, I would often do Thai boxing and then jump into rounds of no-gi sparring. And then Sunday I would do no-gi. And, I would do roughly two to three classes of Thai boxing, and then 2 classes of sparring in Thai boxing. And then I was doing between 1 to 3 classes, or one to mostly 2 classes of judo at one point. So it was a lot. And then on top of that, I would also do um, contact improv, which is a contemporary dance form, uh, and which is very physical. It's actually kind of has a lot of parallels with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. But then I was also doing partner dancing. I would do blues and fusion. Um, and so, yeah, it was very active. It was very, and I liked it that way. I wanted to be active. I want to use my body. I am definitely a very kinesthetic person, and I like to move. Um, but it was too much, and I have a thing where if I start it, I don't want to stop. And in particular with the jujitsu and just the martial arts, I do have a thing where I feel very compelled to train because I'm trying to stay ahead of threats. I'm trying to constantly keep my knife sharp to be ready and prepared to defend myself if I need to. So there's kind of a hypervigilance around and compulsivity around this worry of being unsafe and somebody trying to take advantage of me. Uh, so yeah, the martial arts, I created this loop of responding to this deep sense of unsafeness with physical activity and specifically in combat arts, which gave me confidence and made me feel a sense of safety. But then it became, it was something that helped me to control the anxiety or the worry that I had around being taken advantage of. But then it began to control me. It became too much of an obsession and too much of a commitment and a demand that I have to do this. Otherwise, if I even take a day off or pull back in any way, you're setting yourself up for a fall or a danger. So I felt like, oh, I got to protect myself. But I, even while I was hooked and I knew I was being controlled and I knew I was in too deep and I was going to kind of either run my body into the ground or something else. I mean, I think I knew in the back of my mind that I was going to get hurt. I was going to hurt something. And I needed to kind of, you could say, see that through. Um, and then it did. And in a weird way, you I flirt with the idea that I manifested it. Like I needed a way out and I couldn't pull myself out. My conscious mind couldn't do it, so I had to get my subconscious mind to do it. And I got injured in such a way that I am forced to take a break. I can't go back to old patterns for a good couple months. Not a couple months, several months. So ACL recovery really takes about a full year to get back to normal, real normal, and to kind of get back into training, probably like 4 to 6 months. So I'm nearing 3 months. Realistically, I should be halfway. I shouldn't be training until 6 months is up, even though I know I could. And I actually do a little bit of dancing on the side. But anyway, And kind of the same is true as far as patterns are concerned with work. I was feeling burned out. Man, it's crazy. I was feeling burned out both in work and in training. And it's weird. I guess I'm just kind of coming to realize this now. I was burned out with the way I was living life. That's kind of crazy. I was burned out with the way I was living my life, front to back, back to front. Yeah. I wanted to leave. I was planning. So the funny thing is, I used to work at Grubhub. I was planning to leave in mid-May. I wanted to take time off, take a full year off, actually. I wanted to take a full year off. And I had this plan that I was going to travel a bunch, like all through the summer, and then come back in September. And then I was going to take drawing classes and do more pyrography art and just kind of maybe get a job doing something random a like a tech salesman at Best Buy, or become a bartender, or learn a trade like become an electrician or a plumber or something like that. I mean, just something different, you know. And it's crazy that I'm interviewing. I've been interviewing. I've had this interview, which I think I fucked up, for a good high position, higher than what I was at Grubhub. And then I actually have an interview tomorrow for the same title position that I was at Grubhub. It's so crazy. I'm just like, do I really want to do that? Like, if I get an offer, which I don't think I will with the other company, and that's okay. Um, but if I get an offer, will I take it? And why would I take it if I had already planned that I wanted to take a full year off? Part of it is because of AI, sons of bitches. I mean, I'm worried and scared that tech is moving so fast. I'm not going to be relevant, you know, taking a year. Dude, I, it's been 3 months and I feel like, oh shit, like I don't know if I'm fit to work anymore, given the way how fast things are going. But yeah, so I'm scared. I mean, that's making me feel scared. Like, oh, shit, like I gotta stay with this. I gotta do something. I gotta figure out a way to remain relevant. But then the other thing is, you know, in April, the market tanked, you know, and now it's like bounced back. So, God knows how long that's going to last, but I am very, very lucky in that in this moment, am not wanting or needing any kind of financial resources to manage my life. It's just not something that's very, very important right now. So I could definitely, I mean, I've been trying to figure out a way to shift things around so that I'm able to make, you know, a certain amount of investment income that's able to cover my common expenses. And I think I'm there. And now, like, that's the big hurdle to pass. And so now I can I'm past that. So like I now have I I can I'm earning on average monthly over whatever my expenses are. And I'm single. I'm not married. I don't have kids. My mom and my dad have both departed. I have an older sister, but she's taking care of herself. So, I mean, I know I had this lady or the tiger, and you're probably wondering, it's referring to a story, and it's kind of a story around fate and uncertainty and direction and trust. And that's kind of where I'm at. And I was kind of, uh, I was working this out um, with Claude, um, and yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that it's saying here. You know, think about the meta lesson here. If you choose the creative path despite your fears, you're literally proving to yourself that you can choose growth over security, curiosity over certainty. Every day you spend creating art instead of climbing corporate ladders, you're rewiring that old program that says safety only comes from external achievement. You've built enough external security to finally give your internal world the attention it deserves. You've been waiting 46 years for someone to say your dreams matter more than other people's expectations. Yeah, the question isn't really about career strategy anymore. It's about whether you trust yourself enough to bet on your own curiosity and creativity instead of external validation. What would choosing your own uniqueness over conventional success teach you about your worth? I mean, I don't know. Um, who knows? Um, yeah. Uh, Jesus. Yeah, I know. I was in this conversation with Claude, and was saying a lot of good things, a lot of things that I feel are helpful. But I don't know what to do. I kind of feel like I should take more time. I should. Am I going to regret it though? I mean, if I get one of these positions, the way that I was rationalizing it before is that, well, I can't really go anywhere because my stupid leg is still healing. So I might as well work until that happens. And if I am able to continue solidifying my investment income streams and then continuing to invest long term, then all the better. I'll just be in a better position and I can retire a year from now when my leg is fully healed. Um, but those are golden handcuffs speaking because I'm already there. I mean, if I continue working, it's just going to be adding more sureness. It's like you can't go over 100%. Like if something is, you can keep, if a cup is full and you keep pouring into the cup, it spills out. Like you can't get more full than full, you know? um, so I think there's something to that. I think there is something to, dude, your cup's already full. And I think there is something also to, I don't know. I don't really know what I'm going to jump into. And, I had an experience that, dude, seriously, the idea that I kind of just processed just now talking, the idea I was burnt out with the way I was living my life, burnt out, is pretty significant. Changes had to happen, and there may need to be more. And I have to find a way to be able to be brave enough to chance that and to move into it. One of the things I've been struggling with meaning and purpose as well, just figuring out for myself, particularly after my mother and father are now departed. My mother departed most recently, and it was a very it had a deep, continues to have a deep impact on me. In September of 2022, so almost 3 years ago, which is shocking, how far ago that was, and how but ever since then, I haven't really felt clear about what I'm supposed to do. There was something of an anchor that my mom provided, and definitely in caring for her, it was a big, I drew a lot of meaning and purpose from it. And there's another situation where I really felt a deep sense of meaning and purpose, because I felt like I was really growing and there was hope of life being potentially becoming very different. And I was excited for that. I was like, in both cases involved stepping into uncertainty. The case with my mom, and then the case where I felt like I was really about to grow. And that's significant. I think it might be what I need to do now. It just might be. I just might have to do it. And I mean, it'll trust a little bit that I'll be taken where I'm taken, and that where I'm taken is like where I'm supposed to be. I don't know. I don't, that's why I am scared of that. The idea of what's going to happen, where I'm going to go, what I'm going to do. Uh, yeah. I mean, it's the right time. It's the right time. I'm feeling more and more like That's what I should do. But will I do it? I don't know. I don't know. I'm kind of really scared not to know what I'm going to do and uh, figure that out as I go along and really believe and then say something in LinkedIn. And what if it does? What if the thing that I do does lead me back to some kind of, I don't know, work? Is that what I want? I don't know. I don't know if I'm lying to myself and just saying, oh, you know what? Like, you gotta, you're leaving work to find another way of doing work or another way of making money. And I don't know if that's also like, okay, well, if that's what I'm doing, then what the fuck is the difference? You're not really submitting to uncertainty in a true sense. It's very scary. It's very scary. Um, but it might be what's necessary. That's the thing. And recently read this book, Die with Zero. I think I might have showed it in a previous, by Bill Perkins. It's a great book. I would recommend it strongly to anybody. It's funny because I bought this book a while back, a couple years back, and I read part of it and then thought, oh, this book's dumb. And I put it aside. And obviously, since I've been laid off, I started picking up books that because I have time now, I can read, I can catch up on them. And so I started picking that up and reading it again and saying, oh, maybe I'll give it another shot. And it has good points, very good points, worth thinking about, worth exploring. And I think one of the things that's different, other than the obvious, which is, well, the obvious thing you could expect from that book is don't wait till you retire to do stuff. Change the conventional way of thinking of, working, saving, retiring, and then doing all the fun things you want that you couldn't do because you were working. That doesn't make sense, and you should, to the book's title, you should plan to die with zero. And if you're following that path, you're basically definitely not going to die with zero. You're going to die with a lot. And what that money really represents is a bunch of experience that went unrealized, in the concept of and market language. You buy a stock and then you just hold on to it, and it just builds up a bunch of unrealized value. But if you don't ever sell it, then there's nothing. You can't really do anything with it. I mean, unless you take a loan out against it, and that's a different story. But if you just keep it and you just like watching the unrealized number change, that's fine. But there's no practical use. There's no usage you're getting out of that. You never are actually gaining anything. Your gain is still zero because you haven't sold anything. You haven't gotten the differential. And that's basically what it's saying your money is. It's basically, like you die with an unrealized ledger that is essentially zero, that could have been so much more. I liked the way that he talked about the three key factors. So time, money, and health, right? So when you're young, typically you have time and health. And when you're old, you have money. So, the challenge is you don't like because of that, you don't want the obvious thing is to wait till you have money, but by the time you have the money, that's the irony, is that you don't have time or health. Obviously, what he's trying to say is that there's a sweet spot. There's sweet spots where you still have some health and some time, and you got a little bit of money. And then like when you're young and you have time and health and not very much money, you should still find a way to have experiences then. And it's not gonna, even if it breaks your bank and you go get to zero or negative, you can come back from it. You still can, because you're as you get older, your ability to earn more is going to increase, and that's been true for me. I remember it was crazy. I Is going to sound a little bit conceited, but I remember when I started training jujitsu, um, the cost seemed astronomically high. And I'm a little bit lucky since I've been at the place that I've been training at for pretty much the day I started, which was roughly 20 years ago. Uh, my tuition remained the same. So today, when I look at that tuition, it's like, even if it was normal, I mean, it's a 20-year-old tuition, but if it was to today's standards, it still wouldn't be that bad, you know. But back then, when I was younger, um, it was unreasonably high. Like, you had to really be. I remember talking to this guy. He was like, "Yeah, man, that's a lot of money," and I was like, "Yeah, I know." We were like, "Fuck, man! Like this shit. Do I really want to be spending all this much money on this?" Uh, is all worth it. Just to say, but no, it's just to solidify and to put a little more crystallization around that point. When you get older, the things that you felt were expensive are just, that's not, you know. Uh, so what will happen? You won't be so worried about costs. Um, and yeah, I think yeah, I really got to think about this. I mean, it's going to be a big, important decision. And most definitely, I'll be talking of, depending on where I end up, maybe talking about it and what that journey is going to be like. And fuck, man, Jesus, I was burnt out by my general life. Burnt out. All aspects of it were just not, couldn't do it anymore. Lost my job, lost my training. Those are the two huge pieces that kind of concretized an identity for me that I was driving for a long time. I was at Grubhub for 8 years, so that was significant, you know, um, not a short amount of time. I'm a lifer, I don't want to. I don't really want to work at other places, and I kind of realize, if I take another job, that's probably going to be it. That's probably going to be my last job, because at least if I remain single, which is strong likelihood that I will, and that's another story. But yeah, I don't think I want to. I don't need to. I don't need to work more than I should. Like, I'm good. When you're good, you're good, and you just kind of go with that. And I'm set up to continue growing with the market. I kind of made sure of that. And the lucky thing is, at the same time, I'm able to generate investment income that's going to help me, So, what's the problem here? There isn't any. Um, yeah, I think I'm done. Man, yeah. I mean, I know I went a little bit longer than 30 minutes than I thought I would, but yeah, later, the tiger. What door? What's behind the door? The lady or the tiger? Do I get to live the rest of my life in joy and happiness, or do I get devoured and killed savagely by a angry tiger? So the position that I'm in is, do I want to open that door? Do I want to step into uncertainty? Or do I want to go back to this old life that's predictable and safe, but doesn't feel like I'm going anywhere? I was just thinking about it. I feel, um, you participate in certain things, and it feels like you're getting on a bicycle, because there's movement happening. You're exercising, and you're going in a direction. You're moving. You're literally uh, traveling a distance, and then somewhere along the way, you know, the amount of distance that you travel on that bike gets smaller and smaller. Even though you're putting in a lot of effort, you're still pedaling as hard as you can. You're still showing up. You're doing the things, quote unquote, that you've always been doing. But the movement seems to be just continue to slow down. So much so that the bicycle transforms into a stationary bike, just an exercise bike. You're putting in all this time and effort and energy into something, but there's no movement happening. Wherever that bicycle was meant to take you has taken you as far as it can go. And now it's either stuck in the mud or, ran up against a wall that you're still pedaling into. But it's not going anywhere. Like, it's just feels like, I don't know, frozen. And so you can keep pedaling, or you can decide to get off the bike and try something else. And that's kind of what I feel like. It's like, I've been riding this bike for a long time. And even though I know it's not going anywhere, I know how it works. What am I going to do if I get off this thing? What then? I don't even know if there's another bike to find. I don't even know if there's a road. But what I do know is that this bike most likely isn't going to take me much further than where I am right now. And that's a little bit of a chilling thought. But it's safe and it's predictable. Oh, God. I hate my neighbors. They're so noisy. Anyway, I've waxed poetic enough on that. But yeah, I think this was important. It was helpful, at least for me. I processed a couple things, and yeah, I keep getting these idiots. First time chat. Nobody. Don't want anybody. Mod view. Oops. Okay. Think I'm my own mod. Yeah, I do need mods. Anywho, it's time to kill this. Stop this. So I'm going to call it. That's it for now.